psychedelics, I mean, the things we'll see, maybe they're out there already, but we will see serious discussions of how to be giving LSD and everything to children. We will be seeing that. It will be on TV. It will be in the newspapers. I guarantee it. It's just a matter of time. Maybe it's happening now. I've seen maybe on administering cannabis to children, how do parents, in other words, once you accept that it's good, and once you accept that it's good for some people, then the question, some person says, well, why isn't it good for everybody? And then why isn't it good for children? And then that's always the pattern. So we will be discussing that. How do we give it to them? How do we microdose, psychedelics with 2-year-olds, and maybe even pre-fetally in the fetus? Pre-birth. These are not unreasonable questions to ask. As soon as you pass that, you move into that land where you're guided by the hand by a, dealer.
Mm.
So it's a complex thing. But when we're brought back to the psychiatric issue, there's the simple issue of consent. And there's a bit of a word twist. When you said, we want the psychiatrist to provide informed consent. Informed consent is not provided by the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist obtains informed consent. The person gives or refuses consent. So it's the person to give or refuse, not necessarily to consent automatically. That by definition, to be informed means to be informed so that you can refuse. Not so that you automatically say yes,
right,
because, hey, you don't want it, not for you. So right. We provide, the professional provides the conditions and the information and response to the answers in a process, in your language, in your understanding over time, that those conditions allow you to make an informed choice about whether to take or not to take that drug or that treatment. So that's what it's about. That the extent to which that works in practice, it's again, that is also complex. How it works, why we tend to overlook it, or we tend to say, let's not bring it up now. This is not the time. Why there's a kind of a collusion. People are not quite showing themselves. That kabuki theater where at some point I'm wearing a mask, you're wearing a mask, you're talking without your mask as I'm putting mine on, and we're not quite sure who's saying what. And that is, the situation is charged and it's quick. At some point we both have to leave and a decision has to be made, usually around a drug, especially when it's a psychiatric situation, because there's nothing else to do. It's either I give you a drug or you go home. Right. I'm not going to give you money. I'm not going to be your best friend. I'm not going to give you a job. I'll give you a drug or not. And we have X minutes to make that decision. So it's all geared to that end. Whether you know it or not, want it or not, discuss it or not, it's going to come down to that. So the consent around it, the understanding of what you're getting into, the withdrawal effects, how long should you take it, all these things, they're not quite necessarily raised. And so the charisma of the physician plays a lot, and therefore all the amplification of placebo effects and your expectations and so on. So this is why the drug issue, it's endless, and it's fascinating for me as a student of these situations, these prescription situations. It's just full of every possible dynamic you can think of, both actual behaviors and hopes and feelings and longings and projections and guesses and mind reading and so forth around this object. It's very interesting. So you got to be careful. You got to wade into this very cautiously, and you need to take your time. And the drugs have not worked according to the goals we had for them. It's been pronounced, it's said by the biggest voices in the field, the most traditional orthodox voices have said that the 60 years of the so-called psychopharmacological revolution have produced nowhere near what we thought they would, and they have produced much more harm, most of which we haven't even measured. So you need to be careful. When someone talks in a very excited way about the new drugs coming of this, that's the time to step back and put on your thinking cap, because we've been at this for 60 years. There's nothing new. We've been at it. We've been around the block 10 times. So let's be very careful here. despite massive increases, doubling and tripling of rates to kids or so forth, we don't have any measures of improvement at a population level. We're worse off than most countries, most developed countries in the world. So the drugs, if anything, do not seem to have added an advantage in America. So we have to be very careful. Maybe when one looks at an individual situation, you can see some kind of improvement, but multiplied by millions of times, it does not look good, whether for adults or for people with depression. We have a lot of anecdotes, but we're supposed to be evidence-based, I understand, although we can see now we are not evidence-based in any way, shape, or form in this field. So that's just a slogan that's used to just keep things as they are.
Right.
So in the drug thing, be careful. Be careful.
It's wise counsel. And thank you for catching the word twist there. I did say that a physician provides informed consent, but no, they provide information.
That's right, information. You did say that too. You did say that too.
But no, it's a good clarification. The one being prescribed is the one who can consent, but you also cannot consent. I think that's important to just highlight, right? Because people,
that's what it means.
And we've almost got to the point where people, they almost forget that they don't have to consent here.
Consent means not having to consent. Exactly. Otherwise, there is no consent.
Exactly.
So it's just one of those words.